He rose slowly to his knees, peering over the bed. A window on the far side of the room illuminated the silhouette of the shapely young woman from behind. She was holding his table lamp over her head. She's alive and well, he thought. Perhaps a bit aggressive, but seemingly healthy and alert, considering. Slowly, trying not to alarm his baneful guest, he said, "Illuminate," turning on her lamp. His fierce adversary was now brightly lit and completely nude. Her next move was to tear the sheet off the bed with her free hand and pull it over herself. She wrapped the sheet over her shoulder and clenched a fist full of linen on her left hip, making the sheet look like a toga. All of this was accomplished while maintaining a white-knuckled grip on the table lamp. She was nearly as tall as he was. He could see the muscle tone in her right arm as she raised her electric torch over her head. Instead of threatening him, she now appeared to be using the lamp to look around the room as she surveyed the foreign surroundings. Phil767 noticed her brightly lit hand holding the lamp. Her weapon was clenched with grotesquely long fingernails around its base. She lowered her lamp back to a battle-ready position. Her glowing sword was now ready to strike. She had a solid stance, feet firmly planted and head held high with a steely stare. Her face was contrastingly beautiful, even though it was easy to imagine her growling. Phil767 had only seen her in poor light. Now he noticed her eyes. They were a piercing light blue. Her lips were full. Her long brown hair was snarled and draped down her toga-covered body. Her hair nearly reached her knees. She appears toned, lean and healthy, Phil767 thought, as she stood in front of him wrapped in a bedsheet. "Who are you?" she snarled. "Phil767, he replied. He had worked his way to standing with his hands slightly raised defensively. "I don't know what you did to me, but once my father finds out about this, the only daylight you'll see will be through bars, you sick fuck." "I know you're confused," Phil767 said calmly. "Shut up and get me my clothes so I can get out of here." Music came on in the other room. Rune was trying to cover up the shouting. "Who else is here?" she shouted. "Rune," Phil767 said. Just then, Rune opened the door and quickly closed it behind him. Her eyes widened and her gaze snapped to the bedroom door. She pumped the lamp when Rune came in, as though she were warning them to keep their distance. She changed her glance from one person to the other. "If either of you come closer, I'll break your heads open with this lamp," she said through gritted teeth. "My clothes now," she said sternly with her fiery blue eyes. Rune slowly walked over to the closet, touched the wall, and the closet door opened. Then he took a step back, a safer and less threatening distance, allowing the young woman to reach the closet and clothe herself. Rune motioned calmly to the shirts hanging in the closet, then picked one, and slowly turned, and displayed it to the frightened young she-devil. She looked at Rune, holding up the dress shirt, and then snapped her eyes back to Phil767. He was still holding up his hands. The sneer on her face softened slightly. Her winced eyes flickered as she looked between Rune and Phil767. She was assessing the situation, trying to make sense of it. She thought to herself, "That Phil767 guy has been sleeping on the floor, and now stands there wearing some kind of tight-fitting onesie, while the other guy, Rune, is very sharply dressed and poised in his actions as he displayed the clothing selections like a new-age male fashion model. They're a gay couple, and probably not an immediate threat." Still cautious and somewhat irritated, but no longer feeling threatened, she looked back to the shirt that Rune was holding. "Is that the best thing you have?" she asked as she slowly lowered the lamp and set it on the bedside table. She walked toward the closet, visually sizing up her clothing options. She was still loosely clutching the bedsheet as she approached Rune, standing by the closet. Standing at the open doors of the closet, she began flipping through the dress shirts with her free hand. She was holding things up to see how they looked, and pulling them close to assess their possible fit. "So, what did you guys do? Slip me some roofies or something?" She waited briefly for a reaction, still flipping through the clothes. Phil767 appeared confused. Not talking. Smart. She nodded her head. She was throwing the unwanted apparel to the floor. She no longer seemed concerned by her current situation. She now seemed more preoccupied and disgusted with her options. Are these actually girl clothes? She asked sarcastically. Phil started to answer. That was rhetorical, she interrupted. Phil767 quit talking. He was extremely tired, emotionally confused, and felt like he was in over his head. She stood there in front of them, nearly nude, thrashing through clothes and throwing them all over the floor. She had already taken charge. What have I done? Phil767 thought. His hands finally lowered down to his sides. He was worn out. He felt crushed. Is this what he stayed up all night for? I hope you enjoyed this sample of Phil767 The Reluctant Luminary. Find out what happens next. Follow for more content and click on the link below, phil767.com. Thank you for listening.